in Ghana's history. Leaders of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, gather in Accra to mark the organization's 50th anniversary. Plus, the World Food Programme to halt aid for 650,000 women and children in Ethiopia. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin in Ghana, where heads of state and leaders of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have gathered in Accra to mark the organization's 50th anniversary. And it's amid the withdrawal of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. A host of the event, Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama, while addressing attendees, says the region is faced with a complex array of threats, calling the recent decision by Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger to withdraw from ECOWAS a regrettable development. He adds that continuous engagement must remain the lodestar with dialogue and a willingness to listen and to engage. At the event, the official anniversary logo was also unveiled. The extraordinary session of the Council of Ministers of ECOWAS will last from yesterday, the 22nd, up until today, 23rd of April 2025. The treaty establishing the ECOWAS was signed in the Nigerian capital on May 28, 1975, and that was with 15 states as founding members.
Our region is faced with a complex array of threats: violent extremism, growing insecurity in the Sahel, political instability, economic disparities, and climate vulnerabilities. In moments like these, diplomacy and solidarity must remain our first and strongest line of defense. The recent decision by Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to withdraw from ECOWAS is a regrettable development. Yet, even in this, continuous engagement must remain our lodestar. We must respond not with isolation or recrimination, but with understanding, dialogue, and a willingness to listen and to engage. To mark this moment and strengthen regional bonds, Ghana is offering 1,000 scholarships to tertiary students from across the ECOWAS sub-region to study in our universities. This is not just a gesture, it is an act of solidarity. It is a bridge to a future where our young people will grow up seeing each other not as foreigners, but as partners.
First, ECOWAS is the most integrated community in Africa. In a recent interview, Alhaji Aliko Dangote lamented that he required visa for over 30 African countries. If an entrepreneur of Dangote's caliber can go through such hassles, can you imagine what ordinary people go through to travel within the continent? Thank God, no ECOWAS member state is among the countries that require Mr. Dangote to have a visa. This is because ECOWAS has adopted a free movement protocol that gives each ECOWAS citizen the right to visa-free movement, the right to residence, and the right to establishment across the region. These freedoms make the ECOWAS community the most integrated regional economic community on the continent. This, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, is a good reason to celebrate.
President Bola Tinubu of Nigeria has hailed the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, for fostering regional integration. President Tinubu, represented by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Ojukwu, spoke in Accra, Ghana at the launch of a series of events to mark the regional body's Golden Jubilee. President Tinubu, who is also the chairman of the ECOWAS Authorities of Heads of State and Government, said ECOWAS has remained true to the bold vision created by its founding fathers and is a beacon of hope for the region's over 400 million citizens. According to the statement by the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, President Tinubu urged ECOWAS members to reimagine the organization as a community of people and not merely as a community of states, adding that the region must invest in education, innovation and skills development to unleash the full potential of Africa's future. He also called for deepening economic cooperation, support for intra-regional trade, and that all hands must be on deck to ensure that the African Continental Free Trade Area becomes a vehicle for genuine transformation. A local story in Ghana making headlines is that President John Mahama has suspended the country's Supreme Court Chief Justice. This is the first of its kind in the country's history. An investigation is underway and 3 undisclosed petitions have been filed making allegations against Gertrude Torkornoo calling for her permanent removal. Will Chief Justice in Ghana enjoy security of tenure, meaning they can only be removed from office on a few grounds, which include incompetence and misbehavior. The content of the petitions has not been made public and she is yet to comment. However, Ghana's former Attorney General has claimed that her suspension is an attempt to undermine the judiciary. Ms. Torkornoo is Ghana's 3rd female Chief Justice and was nominated in 2023 by former President Nana Akufo-Addo. It is her responsibility to oversee the administration of justice in Ghana. Well, let's unpack all that's happening in Ghana. Joining us now is Maxwell Agbagba. He's the presidential correspondent for Joy News TV in Accra. Hello, Maxwell. Thank you for speaking to us.
Hello, Layo. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's begin with the celebrations of ECOWAS at 50. Ghana is playing host to the organizations. What are events looking like? Is it a week-long event or it's just for a day?
Well, from yesterday's event and yesterday's launch, we were told that it's going to be a year-long event with a series of activities to commemorate the 50th anniversary celebration of ECOWAS. Again, we are told that the event will not only be held in Accra, Ghana, it would be held in different parts of West African countries, the member states of ECOWAS. But key amongst what is happening here in Ghana also is the extraordinary meeting of the Council of Ministers of the ECOWAS. So yesterday, right after the launch of the 50th anniversary of ECOWAS, the Foreign Affairs and Finance Ministers of member countries of ECOWAS gathered at the Kempinski Hotel here in Accra to start deliberations on key on the agenda was the withdrawal of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger from ECOWAS. And member states raised quite a number of concerns about the withdrawal process and how ECOWAS, should go about it. But a lot of the talk has been about unity, collaborations, and then actions that would, ensure collaboration between the AES and then ECOWAS. But as I speak to you, today is the last day. Today is the last day of that meeting of the Extraordinary Council of Ministers meeting of the ECOWAS happening today at the Kempinski Hotel in Accra. And it's suspected that after that meeting, a communique will be released to provide further details on some of the key decisions that were taken at that meeting.
Talking about the local story making headlines now in Ghana, the suspension of the Chief Justice, what more can you tell us about the petitions that were filed against her, and particularly the reason behind the president suspending her? I mean, it's the first of its kind in the history of Ghana.
Yes, it's the first of its kind in the Fourth Republic for a Chief Justice to be suspended. That we have in the past had petitions seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. We've in the past had that. And just last year, the current Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo, who is facing this threat of removal as a result of the petitions brought against her. Sometime last year, another citizen, Professor Kukwasari, brought a petition against the Chief Justice. But that petition was dismissed by the president after consultation with the Council of State, which is an advisory body to the president. So the former president, President Akufo-Addo, dismissed the petition after consultation with the Council of State. These are fresh petitions, 3 of them, and they all came to the attention of, they were all sent to the new president just this year. And 3 of the petitions were forwarded to the Council of State. Earlier, the Chief Justice raised concerns that she was not given the opportunity, to be heard after the petitions were sent to the president. But the president wrote back to her and said that that process was already, in motion. So the opportunity was given to the Chief Justice 10 days for her to respond to the 3 petitions that have been brought against her. So the 10 days elapsed, and the Chief Justice responded to those petitions. Now, the Ghana's constitution, after the petition, after the response by the Chief Justice, to the president would now, in consultation with the Council of State, which is an advisory body to the president, will now have to look at the petition seeking a removal and then the response of the Chief Justice on why she shouldn't be removed. Now, after these 2 things were done, we're told that a prima facie case was established, that indeed there's something to look at, there's something to investigate. And that is why the president of the country, yesterday, a statement was released by the presidency setting up a 5-member committee to further investigate these allegations contained in the petitions against, the Chief Justice. So the 5-member committee will now be sitting on the case and investigate, launch an inquiry into the petitions that they submitted and the response by the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice will have the opportunity to once again respond. Now, one thing to note is that the Constitution gives the president the powers to suspend the Chief Justice while this process is going on. So the president, acting in line with the constitutional provisions, decided to suspend the Chief Justice. Now, some lawyers are saying that indeed this is not mandatory. This provision of the Constitution is not mandatory. It's rather discretionary. So the president could have chosen not to suspend the Chief Justice while the hearing for the petition seeking her removal began. But the president decided to suspend her whilst the committee that has been put together to investigate the matter starts its work. Now, it's worthy of note that per the Constitution of Ghana, the petitions cannot be made public. And in fact, the proceedings of the committee also cannot be made public. Everything is supposed to be in confidence and in private. That earlier today, we woke up to see some of the aspects, of the response of the Chief Justice making rounds on social media. Indeed, we've not received any confirmations on whether if it is indeed the response of the Chief Justice or not. But these responses are making the rounds, on social media. But like I mentioned earlier, the Constitution does not require the president to disclose what is contained in the petition. It is supposed to be in private. So as it stands now, we really do not know the reason seeking a removal, what the petition says. But per the Constitution, 1, on grounds of incompetence, the Chief Justice can be removed. And then secondly, also unstated misbehavior, she can't be. These are some of the two reasons why the Chief Justice, can't be moved. And we're told that the petitions are really in line with these two reasons as stated in the Constitution.
Wait and see how it all pans out from the investigation. Well, thank you so much, Joy News TV Presidential Affairs Correspondent Maxwell Ogbagba. Thank you for speaking with us.
Yeah, thank you too.
Sudan's Sovereign Council Chair and Head of the Army, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has received a Chinese delegation led by Zhang Jiwa in Port Sudan on Tuesday. General al-Burhan welcomed Mr. Zhang and others, speaking during talks attended by Sudanese political and military figures. According to the local media, the discussions included oil extraction, aspects of cooperation between the two countries, and ways to activate and deepen them. The implementation of the Beijing Summit's outcomes of China-Africa Cooperation Forum was also discussed. Let's take a break now on the program. Still to come. Pope Francis' body lies in state at St. Peter's Basilica as Egyptian Coptic Catholics mourn his death. Welcome back to the program. Kenya's President William Ruto has arrived Beijing for the start of a 4-day state visit to China. It's the third time since taking office that President Ruto has visited China. He previously attended the Third Road and Belt Forum in October 2023 and the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation in September 2024. The visit is on the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping and is expected to bring the two countries closer together in sectors such as trade, transport and technology. Now, this visit is coming in the wake of 10% tariffs applied by U.S. President Donald Trump on all Kenyan exports to the U.S. This has accelerated Nairobi's quest, according to its government officials, to diversify its commercial partners. Among them, China is a key interest, currently taking the top spot in Kenya's list of most important trade partners. The World Food Programme has been forced to suspend aid for 650,000 malnourished women and children in Ethiopia starting next month, May, and this is due to lack of funding. The United Nations agency warns that without urgent new funding, 3.6 million people could lose access to food assistance in Ethiopia in the coming weeks. Zlatan Milicic, WFP's country director in Ethiopia, says the situation has become untenable and WFP has no other choice but to cut life-saving support.
Foods are running. Over 10 million people in Ethiopia are acutely food insecure. This includes 3 million people displaced by conflict and extreme weather. Malnutrition rates are alarmingly high. In total, over 4 million pregnant women, breastfeeding women, and young children are in urgent need of treatment for malnutrition. In some areas, Somali, Oromia, Afar, and Tigray regions, child wasting has passed the 15% emergency threshold. Now we are at the breaking point. We've been left no choice but suspend completely the treatment for 650,000 malnourished women and children simply because we've run out of commodities and funding. We are now operating with just about 50% of last year's funding. This means that 3.6 million vulnerable people could lose access to WFP assistance in the coming weeks unless funding arrives urgently.
Back here in Nigeria, the Lagos state government has started free medical screening for intending pilgrims going for the 2025 Hajj. And this is in order to know their health status, address any challenges, and get treated before going to the Holy Land.
Muslims embarking on the 2025 Hajj are gathered at Badagry Local Government Secretariat, Ajara, for the free medical screening exercise organized by the Lagos State government to ensure that intending pilgrims are healthy before going to the Holy Land. They had the opportunity to check their blood pressure, height, weight, and other necessary medical checkups to get their current health status.
Days have been designated for different local governments. We're doing Badagry and Ajeromi today and tomorrow. And in addition to the screening that is being done, we are adding TB screening. TB is a greater cause of morbidity mortality. If it's detected early, you'll be able to arrest it early because there's treatment for it. That is why vaccination is being done. It has commenced for our intending pilgrims. The vaccination stems for meningitis, for diphtheria. Diphtheria, we understand there was an epidemic of diphtheria lately in the state, but it's actually being curbed based on the intervention of the Lagos State government. And the essence is to make sure that our intending pilgrims get holistic care.
The State Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board says the health status of citizens going for the Hajj exercise must be documented for safety reasons.
For you to perform Hajj, one of the rules is that you must be strong. Your health status must be you must be okay health-wise. Because what we do in Hajj is not child's play. So we need to be very healthy to be able to perform the Hajj right. And the governor today has made it more seamless by making it free screening exercise for all our intending pilgrims. So there is nobody that is intending to travel to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that will not partake. Everybody is being encouraged by the governor to partake in this exercise so that we all know our health status. Then if they are able to know their health status, it will guide them further.
The State Commissioner for Home Affairs, Mr. Ibrahim Layode, also adds that the medical screening will help reduce casualties during the religious exercise in Saudi Arabia.
So far, the people traveling to the Saudi Arabia for this 2025 Hajj, Mr. Governor has said we should ensure that each one of them go into this screening to know about the health challenges of each one of them. Previous years, we have seen a lot of people that they do I don't care attitude to their health challenges, which cause one thing or the other to them. People that do not face this screening may not be traveling.
A total of 1,400 intending pilgrims will be traveling with the Lagos State government to Saudi Arabia for this year's Hajj exercise. And the government is appealing to participants to be good ambassadors during their stay in the Holy Land.
Well, the body of the late Pope Francis has been moved from his residence in the Vatican to lie in state at St. Peter's Basilica. Mourners have been filing past the coffin, which will stay in front of the papal altar during the 3 days of public mourning. In Egypt, Egyptian Coptic Catholics have attended a prayer service for the late Pope Francis at the Holy Virgin Mary Coptic Catholic Cathedral in Cairo. Worshippers remember the Pope's values and his efforts to bring in peace to the world. And that's it on the program for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.